Hello and welcome to the 2010 Villagers podcast, episode 21. Another sort of special lockdown episode tonight. We've got another player joining us a little bit later on in the programme. Joining me as always, Jack Salt and Ash Walker, North Ferriby FC's social media manager and supporters club secretary. Give them their official titles. On the back of a very long night last night, watching the Super Bowl, I think we're all a little bit tired this evening, but we'll crack on. Yeah. No talk about Tom Brady, I'm afraid, on this programme. Ash has said that he has a point about football and a pledge that he wants to make at the start of tonight's show. And
neither of us know what this is.
It's going to take me and Jack by surprise, apparently, and neither of us have a clue what this is about. So over to you. Mr.
Listen, I was up till 5 o'clock this morning looking at Tom Brady propaganda. I can't even speak today. My voice is completely gone. It's not COVID, although I have to do a COVID test in about 20 minutes. Well, after 20 minutes after we finish the programme. So I'm in a reflective mood today. I'm reflective. And I'm thinking about my performance on this podcast. Right? This is the first thing. There's 2 points to this. So I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking, I've been a little bit silly. I've not been fair to a lot of people on this podcast. So, first of all, I already have the thing with Emily. Well, I'm not going to say anything about Emily, that wonderful football club. I like them. But I'm no longer going to I'm not going to say anything that's out of necessity. I'm not going to poke any bears anymore. I want to be kind and friendly to people.
Bollocks.
I am. This is right. I'm now reflective. This is how I'm going to be on the podcast from now on. And I'm going to offer insightful analysis, which is where I'm going to go in now. It's about 11 o'clock.
Is this on the back of the wonderful people of Seaham taking some offence to what you might have said last week?
Listen, the people of Seaham have got an opinion of what I said about them, which was obviously factually incorrect, which is a problem. So I'm going to have to retract all those statements I made last week. Okay, I've done it. So about 11 o'clock, I'm sat on the sofa for this one, and my phone buzzes. And it's an article about Mike Dean getting death threats. This country's got a big problem. Big problem. For years and years and years, we bigged footballers up so much that we can think they do nothing wrong. We pay them all this money, and when you lose a game, it's never their fault because they're on a pedestal. It's always the referee's fault. Now, you two and me, we've all blamed referees on this podcast before, haven't we? More than others, some more than others, blamed referees. To blame a referee for a defeat is ridiculous. You have 90 minutes of a football game. For 1 second, for that to be blamed when you're paying footballers that much money, and to give referees death threats, it needs to stop. So I am now pledging on this podcast, we do not ever slag off a referee. Well, I won't. I can't talk about Salt. Sam maybe.
I've got a few points to make on this.
We cannot just sit there and blame the referee all the time. It is disgusting.
Yeah.
Supporters of football clubs need to get the fucking heads right. I've sworn. That was another pledge. I'm not going to swear anymore. But supporters of football clubs need to get their heads around something, right? You're absolute jokes. A lot of them. You pay all this money for these football players and they lose 1-0. It's the referee's fault. Have a look at your bloody £80,000 a week winger who can't cross the ball to save his life and think, oh yeah, definitely the referee's fault. Or your centre half who's bloody useless, who can't clear a bloody header. Or your striker who can't score for shit. Another swear word. That's
you just sworn again.
I know. I just think we need to be reflective about things and just stop blaming one person all the time. It's not the referee's fault all the time. To give a referee death threats, I think it's just disgusting. And it needs to stop.
It's the lowest of the low.
Where is the FA's respect campaign that it was banging the drum for years? It's completely gone.
And obviously, you're talking as a former referee yourself of kids football as well, Ash, that you did for a few years, and you experienced a lot of this type of, maybe not as far as death threats, but a lot
very
of
personal matter.
Yeah.
I had some kid from East Ulster who's going to hang me.
Jesus. Well, what I will say on this, obviously Mike Dean has been in the spotlight a lot recently, and you are right. But this comes to the whole wider point of what you see on social media and things after games. To referees, yes, it's a massive, massive problem. It's, and you're right, it is disgusting. And you had abuse of him last week when he sent the young kid off at Man United, and they went on to lose 9-0. And then when the second red card in the second half, which was a bit ridiculous in fairness, but at the end of the day, he's a human being. But then on the flip side of that, you also had the vile racist abuse of the lad who got sent off for the tackle on McTominay, who was making his Premier League debut at 19, I believe he is. He's got a tackle wrong, right? And he's been sent off, and you've got thumped for it. You're down to 10 men for 88 minutes at Old Trafford. I don't really know what you expect. It was a red card, deserved red card, but it was one of them things. And we've seen this whole racism thing creeping back in recently. We've seen West Brom players, Man United players, a few examples, Southampton players, a few examples around the league. And this whole thing with referees, and it just makes you think that any of these campaigns, are they making any difference? And while people can just hide behind fake pictures and fake names on Twitter, it's going to continue, and it's wrong. I think we can talk about referees. I think we can talk about decisions that they may or may not have got wrong.
We can, but what we can't do is sit here and say we lost a game because of this. That's not why you lose a game of football. And that's what needs to stop a lot of people doing. A lot of people need to stop doing that. Pointing the finger and going, we lost because of you. No, you didn't. That's not why you lost.
Yeah, social media as a whole is an extremely toxic place. And I think a lot of people use it for the wrong reasons. A lot of people use it to hide behind almost, because half of the stuff that they'd say on social media, they wouldn't say in front of that person's face. Somebody racially abusing any footballer, anybody online, whether he's a footballer or not, you wouldn't go up to him and say that to the face. So, yeah, social media is this horrible, horrible world, which should be used for good, should be used for information and for sharing your points of view, which not like that, you know what I mean? But what comes over you to want to abuse somebody like that just because he's been sent off, for example? Like, mistakes happen.
Or he sent someone off.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I use the Southampton lad as a reference. That lad's 18, 19, and he's just made his professional debut at Old Trafford. Excuse him for being a bit giddy. He got a tackle wrong. All right, yeah, it was an awful tackle, and he could have broken McTominay's leg. It was a red card, and that's the end of it. How you can send threats to a referee for sending somebody off for a clear red card tackle, and you can't just blame that one tackle for you losing losing 9-0. It's just a horrible place, and obviously we've all seen some comments we've had recently over the whole Ferriby situation. Nothing on the levels of that, but these comments hurt people, and sometimes I don't think people understand that properly. These are comments that affect people's livelihoods. So yeah, I agree with what you're saying, Ash, completely. Slagging off referees is a pointless affair. Bringing up when they've made mistakes, I think should happen.
That's acceptable. It's the blaming of referees.
Yes, absolutely.
And at the end of the day, if you don't have referees, you can't play a game, can you? And if they all down tools at once and said no, we're not taking this anymore, then the Premier League and football in general and everything would have a very serious problem. So you would think
that's what I did.
Yeah, exactly. Because you'd had enough.
I did that. I stormed off after 60 minutes. 60 minutes gone. I've had enough. I'm going out. Yeah. People don't get too. I understand people are partisan. I understand people so loyal and so dedicated to their football club. I understand that. But you've got to be intelligent enough to realise what you're doing to people. And when you go onto these big clubs' Twitter accounts, there is, and they comment the full-time score, there is no intelligent debate about the game. Someone will make a point. I don't understand this. What does this ratio thing mean? You've just been ratioed is the thing that they talk about. Do you want
to explain it? So basically, when you ratio someone, is when your comment gets more likes than the original tweet. Is
that what it's come to?
Yeah, that's what
debate and opinion has come to, getting more likes than something.
Right.
I'll give up.
It's ridiculous.
By saying something controversial a lot of the time. But yeah, I agree with you, Ash. It's ridiculous. And, even when you see teams tweet their lineups at 2 o'clock for a 3 o'clock kickoff and all the comments are, oh, what a shit team. What's the manager doing? We're going to get beat. Well, there's nothing positive. It's all, it's all you ever see. I'm glad you brought that up. I'm glad you brought that up because it's very, very topical at the moment.
It's a lot more sensible than
it is 20 past 7 on a Monday night. I mean, we wouldn't have looked out of place in a certain studio sat next to Messrs. Keane, Carragher and G-Nev with a debate like that tonight. So well done, Ash.
Well, apart from the swears, which I apologise for. And I told you they're going to get stamped out. I'm going to be good. We're going to offer some, some good debate from now on, rather than this nonsense I've been spouting. Give it 2 weeks.
Right.
We'll be back.
As long as you remain the Roy Keane of the operation and not the Graham Souness, we'll accept that.
I'm obviously still going to have an opinion, but I just think just the silly comments are going to stop. I'm going to stop.
Right, we're going to move on briefly before we get to the guest. Couple of bits of Ferriby housekeeping. I'm going to let Jack do this, but you've got I believe an update on the auction, which from what I hear is going very, very well, and the announcement recently as well about the Sportsman's Dinner, which should have just taken place at the back end of last month, but obviously, unfortunately, with everything nowadays, it was cancelled. But we've got a new date to look forward to at the beginning of 2022. So
we do. So yeah, the auction is doing really well. Over 90 items now, which is quite outstanding. Mark set a target of 100 before he started, so to just be 10 short of that is really, really good. We're going to be starting the auction. I haven't got an exact date, but it's going to be towards the end of this month. I'm going to chuck the 26th out there. Don't quote me on it, but yeah, the other piece is about the Sportsman's Dinner. Obviously, a very, very popular event when it was held, 2 years ago now, with Mark Crossley as a special guest.
We remember, don't we, Sam? The way he was after.
Yes, you remember me the next day. Yes. So yeah, that's happening again. This time at the McKeown Grange Park Hotel. The special guest is the Beast himself, Mr. John Parkin. I'm sorry, every other word will be a swear word, but I'm sure it'll be an absolutely fantastic night. There's a 4-course meal. Pete Emmett's the host, and there's a comedian, Lee Roberts, who's on telly quite often. So yeah, it should be a good night. Obviously, if you want to book a table, there's tables at 10, £45 a ticket. You can let myself know on social media, or you can email Les at northferribyfc.co.uk. It's going to be a really, really good night. Obviously, we know it's just under a year away, but it's something for us all to look forward to. I'm sure we'll all be there.
We will all be there.
It sounds like it's going to be a really good night for us all.
I'm thinking a 2010 Villagers podcast live interview with Mr. Parkin sounds like a bit of a plan to me.
I'll tell you what, he's a podcaster, is Mr. Parkin. So I reckon he'd give us 20 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah,
depends how pissed up he was.
It'd be good.
I'll tell him I'm a subscriber to his podcast and I pay £2 a month. So he'll come on.
Yeah.
I'll start planting some seeds.
We'll we'll get some good content that night. But yes, we will all be there. Me and Ash weren't there last time, but we saw the aftermath of it, and I believe our good friend James Chesney did as well when he took this reprobate home that evening. And him trying to find his front door and get his key in the front door was apparently one of the funniest things James has ever seen. So
No idea.
It was that train journey down to London, wasn't it? That train journey down to London, just the whiteness and him just staring like that down the carriage.
I'm not hungover.
Yeah.
He was green when he turned up at that train station.
I can't remember when it was, but he did admit he was hungover at one point in the day. And I can't remember.
It was when we were getting near London. But yeah, it was a great night and a bit too many wine, I think.
So yeah, register your interest, get your tickets. Yeah, it is a while away, but it's something to look forward to. And Christ, let's bloody hope that this is on.
I'll be annoyed if it's not.
Now, I'm waiting to admit our guest, who I believe isn't the best with all this. This technology.
This could go very wrong, but you'd think at his age he'd know how teams worked, but no. I've texted him to say that we're ready for him. How long this interlude will be, nobody knows.
Can we congratulate Greedy on his winning of his national anthem bet last night?
Yeah.
Oh, that's it.
Yeah, but he got the Gatorade colour wrong, so you win some.
Did he get the coin toss right?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, he did. He went for heads.
Yeah. Yes. What else have we got that we could talk about to fill the gap? But interesting, actually, we was talking about status of leagues. Have you seen what's been going on with the National League North and South with the votes they've been doing about null and voiding?
I just know there's so many clubs refusing to play in there now.
Yeah, there is, and I think it's
looking very
much like null and void. I know that Chester voted to null and void, and they're second in the league. So I think when that starts happening, because that a club like Chester would have ambitions on being in the National League, and if they're even voting to null and void, then it's. And I think unfortunately that's just going to work its way slowly down the pyramid.
That's probably what we're waiting for.
We'll see it, won't we? It'll come down.
That's probably what we're waiting for. I mean, our vote ended. It must have been 3 weeks ago now. So they'll obviously have worked out what everybody wants. I actually don't know what we went for. You'd be surprised to know. But yeah, I can picture the majority of the clubs, especially in our league, saying, "Nah, just scrap it." Saves them a lot of money, and they can sort the squads out ready for next year. I mean, we're the same.
No football till August. Fuck
Well, July. Give yourself some pre-season.
If they are sticking by what they said that clubs would need the secondary income of bars and things, when they're saying that pubs might open in April but not allowed to serve alcohol, then I think
we'll be looking for August. The way we're going.
It is. It's difficult to think about, really. It's madness. Because at one point you just thought, God, this season's trotting along quite nicely. I remember the days back in the kitchen where where we were talking about 3 games a week.
Is he there? He's in the meeting. This could go badly. Here he is.
Here he is.
You're muted, Tillo. Unmute, mate.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Excellent.
How's things, mate?
Yeah, not bad.
I thought we were never going to get you on with.
Oh mate, terrible with phones.
I've had to give you a step-by-step guide of how to use Teams, mate, haven't I?
Yeah.
Oh, he's gone.
Oh, I've lost the pitch now.
Technology.
There we are. It should be sound now.
There we go. He's back.
Yeah, there we go. Right. So just do the official. We've got Ferriby Captain Niall Tilsley with us tonight. Latest player to come on the show. Believe he's very keen on beating Jordan Douglas's views. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, we're just going to go through similar sort of interview that we've done with Dougie and Danny East last week. So I'm going to kick off with the season so far, or the season complete. We don't know yet, but for now it's season so far. How would you judge it, Tillo? How do you think things have gone for yourself and for the team so far this season?
I think if you look where we are in the table, we're probably relatively happy. I think we'd have took it at the start of the season if you said we're still there competing. Ideally, want to be top, where I think we should be. And I think we've got a team capable of doing that easy. One of the best teams in the league. We've let a few results slip, I think. Probably games that we should have took all 3 points. But the Vars has been an added bonus, and it's been a great trip in the Vars so far. And it's been nice to get as far as we have in that. And it's also a bit of a distraction from the league. And who knows what could happen if it does happen, if we do get to play. We're not far away from it.
Yeah.
So I think it's been a good start, I think, and we'd have probably took it at the start.
Well, we'll talk about potential outcomes of the season in a bit, but just obviously you were a new arrival in the summer. So how would you say yourself and the new signings have settled in? Because we did have quite a few additions this summer, some real qualities come into the side, and obviously in really pivotal position at centre back. So how would you say you've enjoyed settling into this club, and what's the club been like for you so far?
I think it helps when the lads are as open and as honest as they are, and they're a good set of lads that made us all feel welcome. From the start, like you say, there was quite a few of us, so that also helps when there's a few of you. If you're the only one, it's a bit daunting. But when there's 5 or 6 new faces going into training, you're not the only one there. But the lads all made us feel welcome. The club made us feel welcome. Les from the start. When I went and sat in the boardroom, you could see the passion he had for the club, and Gaffer and Robbo were just excellent. We're coming across, they sold the club brilliantly, and it was a no-brainer once you got sat down there, and once got into training and everything, it just all falls into place. You do talk on the football pitch, and everyone made us all feel welcome, I think.
How daunting was it to come in and be made captain straight away?
It wasn't straight away.
After pre-season.
Yeah. See, the Gaffer when I ran the Gaffer back after saying, "Yeah, I'm going to come and sign," he said, "Look, would you be interested in taking the captaincy?" And I said, "Oh, we'll just see how pre-season goes and see how we integrate with the squad." And then he made me captain. But it was it is a bit daunting, obviously being a new face and then going, "Yeah, here's the armband." It can be a bit like that. But by then, we'd already had 6 weeks of pre-season, and I was one of the lads by then, I think. So it was easy enough.
Yes, I'll pass it to you then, Jack. You wanna?
Oh, I'm great. Right. So obviously, new Gaffer, Chris, and obviously Robbo as well. How would you say your relationship's developed with them so far?
It's obviously I'd never worked with them before or really knew them as people. When I was on my way to sign at the club, I rang a few people who had worked with them at Scarborough. My old manager called Denny Ingram, and he had nothing but good words to say about him. So when I met him, instantly knew, they were so professional in everything they did, and the training was unbelievable. And then obviously made me captain, and that's when a little bit more responsibility comes on me, where a bit more contact with the Gaffer, and he sends me texts and stuff like that, let the lads know what's happening and stuff. So, but yeah, got a good relationship, good working relationship, and it's honest, and yeah, both in pushing in the same direction.
Good stuff. So obviously we know Chris on a personal level. We know that he's more sort of tactically aware than some of the managers in non-league who like to shout the bollocks off. Whereas Chris is a lot more internal, isn't he? How would you say your game's developed, like from a tactical point of view, since you've started working for Chris and Robbo?
I think it's probably changed the way I played a lot. Because when I left, obviously Pickering, which we were in a relegation battle, so we didn't have a lot of the ball. And obviously coming to Ferriby, we have a lot of the possession, and it's a lot more about playing out from the back. And I seem like with Gaffer and with Robbo, they have a system of how they want the team to play, and they sign the players to fit that system. Whereas most non-league clubs just throw £10 here, £20 there. Who's doing well in the league? Oh yeah, we'll sign him in, bring him in, play him long left or play him up right. It's just whoever's got the biggest budget, and they'll just try and get the best players in. But whereas it's a bit more cuter with the gaffer and Bowles and Robbo. They try and play a certain way, and they find players to fit that system. And it's playing out from the back and something that's never been really that used to. Don't get me wrong, we didn't just used to hoof a ball, but they encourage you all the time to get on the ball and play through the thirds and be patient and wait for your chances. So it's developed me probably better on the ball than what I used to be.
Fantastic. Go on, Ash.
So you've got a great partnership going with Levi at the minute. So just talk me through, like, how would you assess your partnership? So it'd take you a long time to get used to working with another centre half, that sort of thing.
It was strange playing with someone else for the first time. My old partner, we played together for 5 years together, so we would, knew each other's game inside out. So when we came and I was put with someone like Levi, it was different, but you get to learn each other's game, and we probably complement each other a little bit. He's, a lot better on the ball than me, even though I won't like to tell him that. But yeah, he's decent technically, and I probably do the little bit more of the defensive work. So it works well together, And he's also a young lad who's probably go a lot higher in the non-league and will go a lot higher in non-league eventually. And he's a good talent, which hopefully learning a little bit off me can put him in good stead.
100%, I agree with that. Yeah. Looking at the bigger picture now, so what areas do you think we can work on as a team moving forward?
I think Easty touched on it last week. Ruthless. It's got to be a game when we're coming in 8-9-0. It's got to come eventually. I keep saying it every week in my programme notes, but it's got to come. But also, I think the mentality of us, the only time that we seem to drop points is when we look at Glasshoughton. We were comfortable, absolute cruising, then we come out and take our foot off the gas and let teams into the game. We should be top of the league for me, easy top of the league by what we've come across. But it's only ourselves that'll stop us from being there by being sloppy and taking our foot off the gas and not finishing teams off. So we've got to change our mentality, really. That's the main thing.
Do you get frustrated, like, if you've got, I'd say, a home game where we've seen a few times where, God, we must have had 15, 16 shots on target and we've won 1-0 or 2-0, and it's just like, we could have scored 8 or 9 there.
It does become, we say a gaffer comes in at the end of every game. It's like, come on, we've got to start taking these chances. But a 2-0 or an 8-0, it's still 3 points at the end of the day. And
thank you, Tillo.
It is what it is. I take a scrappy 1-0 winner and an 8-0 win. They're both 3 points. It doesn't really matter to me. But I do think, we're probably doing ourselves a bit of injustice by not putting teams away.
Months I've been trying to drill that into their heads, and they won't listen to me. A win's a win. They don't care how it comes. I'm
defensive minded. That's why, you see. Makes me look better.
Don't blame me.
Fair enough, Jack. Finally, you've got someone that agrees with you. Right.
So,
what has been? I guess there's a few to pick from. What's been your favourite moment of the season so far?
Probably the Withens shot. I thought that was just in the overall day of everything, and it was. I think if that ground we didn't have the restrictions on, I think it could have been a very tough place to go. That it was quite a hostile little atmosphere, and poor Loz next to me was just getting absolute pelters thrown at him about his barnet all game. I'm quite glad I shaved my head off, to be fair. I was absolutely just creasing listening to some of the hammer Loz was getting, but he managed to shut him up in the end when he slotted his penalty away. But to come out the first half like we did, which we were absolutely shocking, we're still on the bus, I think, and then second half, the fight we showed, and we probably could have gone and won the game in 90 minutes for me. We just overcame it a little bit, and the challenge was there, and we did our job, and we got through to the next round. And then to get on the bus and have a sing along and a few beers is what all non-league football is about, isn't it? At the end of the day,
it was fantastic.
Yeah,
it was a good trip. I missed my stop at York, I think, and ended up at Levi's couch.
You did.
Yeah,
you did. TC had to go home on his own.
Yeah, TC's missus coming to pick us up. I was like, "Yeah, I'm swerving that. I'm off to Levi's."
Yeah, there's one point in that game I want to bring up to the Withenshaw game. It was in the second half when, I won't say you headbutted him because you didn't, but you went up for a header strongly against their number 9, who was causing you, well, especially Levi, all sorts of problems. And he didn't show up after that, did he? I think
I've still got a scar to prove it. Yeah,
that was a big turning point for us.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I've never gone for, do you know what, I'm going to go cut my head open here. But it was just one of them where we've been that fired up where the ball probably wasn't there to be won. Really, it was always his ball. But I thought, you know what, you're having it, and it sparked something. And it did. You know, sometimes it takes like a little ruck or a little standoff with someone or something like that, a shot on target, just to put a bit of spark into the team, and it worked. Not saying that on purpose, it did it. It could have been anyone that did it, but it worked. You know, I stood there and he went down rolling around, and I looked well hard for a bit, and yeah, but it just sparked something in us, and we managed to go get the result that we needed.
Did you have a lot of like involvement at sort of like half time in that game? Obviously things weren't going well, and I think it's fair to say we could hear Chris stripping the paint off the wall in the dressing room. But obviously, like as the captain and that, you know, massive game like it was, and sort of first half, like you say, we were just sort of a little bit still on the bus. It was a little bit hostile. They played quite well in the first half, I thought, and then the second half it was just a totally different game. How do you turn a team around like that?
Normally the gaffer would let us probably have our little say for a couple of minutes between the lads, let us fetch people out and sort out our issues, and then he'd come in. But that game, he didn't even give us a chance for that. Literally, as soon as my bum touched the seat, it was hairdryer treatment, you know, for all the lads, which we properly needed. And I don't think he took a breath for 15 minutes. And then, but it worked, you know. I didn't do anything in that game. I didn't even say anything at half time. I didn't get a chance, like you said. But it was just once he said his bit, everyone was looking around thinking, "Come on, we've got to sort ourselves out a little bit here," and probably did the talk on the pitch a bit.
Yeah. Oh, we definitely did. But yeah, that was a brilliant day. That. Got to bring it back down though. What's been your worst moment as a Ferriby player so far?
There's probably 2 games that have properly pissed me off after leaving the ground, and the first one was probably Harrogate Railway, where I think it was our first game of the season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know, after the buzz of finally getting to a season started, and then we went there and we should have put them home and dry, and they were a team of young lads that managed to get us rattled a little bit, and I was a bit like, what's going on here, you know? And then MO's offside got even worse and missed a few chances at the end. It's just, I'm quite negative. I can be quite miserable and negative. I look round and I don't want that 3 points there to cost us later on in the line, where you think that should have been an easy 3 points. But the most annoying one for me was Winterton. We didn't turn up at all from start to finish. We really didn't. I think we made them look a lot better of a team than what they are. Don't get me wrong, they are a bad side. They're going to be up there or thereabouts, but the way they actually dominated us that game was quite embarrassing, you know, coming off, and especially when they were giving us a bit on Twitter afterwards, which I've saved for when we replay them. Ready to go again.
He's like you, Sol.
Doing my job for
I'm so childish. It's unbelievable, you know. But yeah, we didn't turn up at all in that game. We made them look like world beaters when they're going to be up there, but they're not a bad side. But we made them look a lot better than what we are.
No, I think that's definitely a fair point, especially at home as well, where normally we're so dominant.
Yeah, exactly. That's what's even worse.
I think, you know, that they came to us and
turned us over.
Probably went away laughing at us a bit, and you know, it's Well, I think we would all agree that was probably up there with the low point, but there hasn't been many, so you know.
And it doesn't help when, you know, we had the big time Charlies of the league, aren't we? And it was their cup final, and they've absolutely done us really, haven't they? So
yeah, definitely. So you've obviously not been here long, but we've been to a few grounds so far. Where's been your favourite ground other than Ferriby to play at as a Ferriby player?
As a Ferriby player,
yeah,
probably. I thought Emily's was a decent surface. I know you're not their biggest fans, but
I know exactly. me and Sam.
Well, I am now. I like.
I don't know. Yeah, it was an good, decent enough setup there. You know, the pitch was good. I think it was a good game. another game probably a little bit annoying that we didn't take something away from. But then, again, if we're not far behind them, we'll be promoted because they aren't a bad side. They're experienced lads on that side that know what they're doing.
Yeah. Where would you say is the worst that you've had so far?
Probably
Or
Railway up there. Yeah. Glass out. Oh, Glass out. And how can I forget the famous Glass out, and where there's weeds and all sorts growing out of there. You know.
I think we all walked in. We all walked in and saw the length of the pitch and was like, "Do they own a lawnmower?"
I've played there numerous times, and every time I go out, I'm still surprised with how bad it is. I don't get it. You know, how can I know what I'm expecting and still get shocked.
At least you scored.
Yeah, good defending that one on that.
Very good, very good. Well, yeah, fantastic. Right, Ash, go on, talk about the VARs then.
So I think we might have touched on this, but favourite game of the cup, was it Wivenshaw by any chance?
That was a favourite day, but it's hard. It's hard with Seaham was such a good night as well. It's hard to pick between the two because they were both very similar. Stories of not coming out and then turning it around in the second half, and probably Seaham game edges it just because it was most recently and it sticks in my mind a little bit more. And I was a bit drunk after Wivenshaw, so I can't remember much of it.
I think we're all well.
There was a few sore heads the day after that game. Bloody hell.
I'm going to have to start paying board to Levi's mum and dad, I think.
What's your thoughts on the whole Seaham situation then, Tillo? It seems like a bit of a farce, really, doesn't it?
Again, I probably bit my tongue a little bit because I was dying to write something on Twitter to him. I agree with... I don't agree... Well... I think if it was the shoe was on the other foot and we didn't play our suspended players and they played their suspended player and they beat us, we'd probably feel a little bit hard done by like they are. So I probably think the replay is probably the fair, but it's the way they've gone about it on Twitter by not putting the context out there and just letting us be open to be called cheats. And I think there's even a member of their staff, the same kid who was moaning about only letting 10 committee members in when we was in a pandemic. And you think, do you know what? You're just adding fuel to the fire there, just opening us up to be called cheats. And then I've seen a few of you lads reply to him and put some context out there, and people started to go, "Oh yeah, fair enough, yeah, all right, yeah, it's not your fault." Because we could turn out and just be like, "Well, the FA cleared him to play. Why should we have to replay it?" You know, we could spit our dummies out a little bit, but we haven't. You know, we've handled it how it is, and I think they've just left us open to be called cheats and probably put a bit of a stain on our name out there. Do you know what I mean? But if I don't know if we're going to get the game on again or not. I don't know, but if we do, I'd love to just stick one over them.
I think that's a very very balanced answer actually.
Surprised.
It was because you can see it from both ways, but yeah, some of the stuff when you don't put all the facts out there, that's half the problem with social media a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Like you say, people don't need much of an excuse to bash Ferriby at the best of times anyway. So.
And I think people are just jumping on it who don't even know anything about it and just who probably don't have any affiliation to any club and just saying it's wrong, the cheats, they should be thrown out. And like, why they're checking if a player should be suspended? Well, they're just doing the job. You know what I mean? It's just a bit. Yeah. It's a bit childish, but it is what it is, and I respect that it's got to be replayed. I think that's probably the fairest, like you say, the fairest thing to do.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, agreed. So if we do get that game on and we get some games back on, how far do you think we can go in the VARs if all goes well?
I've got my suit measured, as Gaza said, in it. I'm ready to go. I think obviously we take every game as it comes, don't you? If and when we do play, or if we get to play again, we haven't got an easy draw. If we get through Seaham, another tough team, but I don't see why not. We seem to be capable of beating anyone on our day, so why not? Why not dream?
Definitely.
And it has seemed like one of those runs of with a bit of destiny about it. I mean,
yeah, everything is going our way a little bit.
St Helens was probably the outlier. That was probably quite a routine game, but then I think I'm right in saying we were behind against Northwich, behind against Wivenshaw, behind against Lower Breck, and behind against Seaham. Come back from behind and got through all of them games, including 2 penalty shootouts. Yeah. It just it seemed like the stars were aligning a little bit for us.
You get value for your money watching us, don't you?
Yeah, just a bit. Yeah.
You also get bloody nervous.
it's just a shame, we can't have a full house there. How good would them nights be with a full house? I'm still yet to see the full house. I've only seen the limit of 300 people, which I'm looking forward to. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
The Northwich game, that was a great atmosphere that day, but that was 300. But I tell you now, Tillo, if that had been unlimited and you could have had how many you wanted with a big team like Northwich Victoria, that could have been 1,000 that day.
Yeah,
and
easy.
That it would have been absolutely rocking.
I think I went there a couple of years ago, and they were allowed a set of fans. They had the drums going and stuff when we went to their place. It was a good atmosphere. So, and they brought a few, I think, didn't they? They did bring a few.
Yeah, they did. They brought a few. I mean, I think something else that's helping us as well. We're getting a few cast-off City fans in as well. Obviously, they can't go and watch football. So,
I'd rather watch at the moment anyway.
We'll get to
that. Not League though. Nobody wants to watch League. Only you. But yeah, fantastic.
Just to finish off on this season, I suppose the big question really, and we're asking this to all the guests. It's sort of looking a little bit inevitable what might happen, but what is your opinion on? Do you think the season will finish? Do you think we might not get the league, but they might try and get the Vars to a finish, or do you think that'll be it completely and we might not be playing again till summer?
I think there's a lot of obviously factors taken into place with everything. With a null and void, for me, that should be the last resort of choosing what to do. Why rush to make a decision when we don't know what's going to happen in a month's time, 2 months' time? We could still get 3 months of football in, and if we do decide to null and void it at the end of this month or next month, that's going to be
Oh, his internet's cut out.
Oh, we lost him.
All hail technology. It's the saving grace of the 21st century.
Step up a little bit, lads.
Oh, here he is. He's back.
Yeah.
We've got you.
You got me, boys.
We've got you.
Neighbour needs to upgrade a Wi-Fi.
Yeah, I know.
I think we should carry on playing as long as we can and don't rush to any decision.
Yeah, that's what we hope they do.
Obviously, financial dictates a lot of it as well. So again, I don't know.
Who's starting the next bit, Jack? Is it you?
Go on, I'll start then. So, talk about your career so far, Tillo. Obviously, you're a young lad. You've not had a massive career, but you've got plenty of experience. So, what would you say your earliest experiences are with football? So, from day dot, basically.
Day dot was, I'm going to be hammered for saying this, but it was at Leeds Academy from 6-year-old. Every time I mention it, I get the old in-betweeners like BBBB. So that's where it started off at, and I was there till about 14. Then I got released from there and went to Hull. 14, 16, got released again and went to York and did a YTS there, and eventually got released from there. So no one wanted me to get cast off all the time.
At least we've got you here now.
I spent my second year YTS on after falling out with Nigel Worthington, who was the manager at the York at the time. And I followed him and he sent me on loan to Pickering, which was where I started in non-league football.
Yeah, definitely fantastic. So obviously you've got at Pickering, you played some over 100 games or something. Only
just short of 300 games. It was about 270 games I played for him.
Yeah, well, amazing then. So you're well experienced for a young man, and over 200 of them as captain as well.
Yeah, I got made
some ridiculous stat I heard.
About 19 years old, I got made captain. I think it was more to try and calm me down a bit. I just found town and was going out all the time and turning up half. So I think the manager at the time thought I'll give him the armband, try and keep him in and sort his head out a little bit, which it didn't for about 2 years. But then after that, I grew out of town and sorted myself out a bit.
Fantastic. How would you assess your time at Pickering?
Oh, it was brilliant. Absolutely proper. The first couple of years I was the only 17, 18-year-old lads with all. Our first experience of men's football with just lads that were brilliant with me and loved the beer and just got into that crack side of it. And I was also laughing through I think I got £25 a win for my first year when I was on loan from York. So I was working at York training like absolute Rockefeller on the £80 a week YTS wage and 25 quid a win. You know, absolute buzzing with it. But yeah, it was. And then when we got promoted out of the NCL into the Northern Premier League, it's called now North East Premier League, something like that. It used to be the Evo stick. So when we got promoted into that, one of the best days of my life, honestly. We had such good celebrations. It was at Hall Road. I think it was a mad week. We need 5 points from 3 games in the last week of the season. We went to Staveley and Barton and we drew both them games, and we needed 3 points from Hall Road. And they were down there at the time, I think. And we won all in the 80th minute, and we managed to nick a winner in the last 10 minutes to get promoted. And it just went absolutely wild, you know. We went all. I stayed there summer day, had a few drinks there, and went back to the Pickering clubhouse where, for some reason, the cricket barbecue was on. They shared a ground with the cricket club. I don't know if you've ever been to Pickering.
No, I've never seen.
So cricket club was having a barbecue. It was Doris's 80th birthday in the clubhouse. We weren't allowed to go in there. I was thinking, we've just got promoted for like after so many years out of the NCL. You know, they'd never been played higher, and they booked Doris's 80th birthday in the cricket barbecue. So we were just spare parts in the corner, just causing carnage. Poor Doris.
That is a brilliant story. That.
Yeah, Eddie Birch. You lads will know Eddie Birch. He was part of it as well. You know, there's some good lads there. Some old school. Ryan Block from Scarborough, you know, all-time scorer there, and just some good lads, you know, honest, good lads that we just had a great time with it. But
fantastic.
Once we got promoted, that's when it all started to unwind a bit.
So how would you say you found the drop down then from playing at Pickering in the Northern Prem, going down to Counties Division 1? How have you found that drop down?
That's a tough league. It's the Northern Prem, whatever it's called. I can't remember the name of it now. But you know, we was well out of our depth in budget wise. You know, you're going to like teams like Marine that you've just seen on TV, and Morpeth, teams like that have got ridiculous amounts of budget and are bringing in players on X amounts of money. You know, they're all good athletes and they take it seriously. We was just well out of our depth, stuck in the middle of nowhere, halfway between Scarborough and York, where you got Scarborough picking up one side and York, Taddy picking up everyone from York. So we just struggled to get players in, and we just managed to just get a load of young lads in that never played non-league football again. We just went out of our depth, struggled a lot. But then coming in Ferriby, where such a big reputation. Been a bit of quite comfortable start, you know, personally. I think it's been, don't get me wrong, the big games are what it's all about, you know, the CM game and the Withenshaws, like you say, and teams that they won't get you up for it a bit. I think the league's our bread and butter, and we should go into them comfortably expecting to win games, you know. We shouldn't favour anyone in the league. So comfortable, I'd say. That'll come back to bite me in the arse, won't it?
Probably. Let's hope not.
So, how would you compare the culture then between the two clubs? So the culture at Pickering and the culture at Ferriby, how would you compare them?
That was probably an bit of an old school ground, and the team we weren't the priority really. It was more about making, because it's a community club. They were more bothered about making money to keep the club operating and stuff like that. When it was coming, you know, to Ferriby from day one, the professionalism was there straight away. I remember Sean coming up to me on Sean, we had a night where we had the free bar, let's put on a free bar for us. And Sean was coming up to me like, oh, do you need any cut-offs or do you need any thermals? I was like, who's this busy bastard? What, you're not doing any thermals. I only need kit, you know what I mean?
That's what we say to him every week.
That was
just Sean being, you know, professional. And that's just how the club is run, you know, so professional. And nothing against Sean. He was doing, you know, he's just doing above and beyond, which I've never had before, you know. It was just, my kit was laid out, and if I wanted anything else, I had to go to the shop and get it myself, you know. And then, like, meet the social media man, Jack. I was like, I'm a busy bastard.
Well, that's right.
The club, you know, you've got proper people to do proper jobs, whereas most non-league clubs have one man running around doing bits of everything, you know. And it's just run properly from Les downwards. You know, with the training, the kit, you guys doing this. It's just all proper club.
Yeah, well, we're very biased, but having been around the place 10 years, I think we do often say, don't we, lads? It's unique in non-league. I think it all starts with Les and Jill.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, it's the passion, like you mentioned earlier, the passion that bloke has for Ferriby is it's unrivaled, and it makes it a great place to be a part of.
When I went for the meeting with him, I think he spoke for about half an hour about Ferriby, and I was like, fucking hell, you know, I've got to get back to York here at some point, lad. You know, that's just him. It oozes out of him how much he loves the club, and he's a proper, honest, decent bloke. You know, he looks after us. You know, getting all the beers for the Wythenshawe trip, you know, that used to be left up to the lads to sort themselves out. But, you know, he can't do enough for you, and it's a good place to play football, like it really is.
Conveniently, it's come round to me and my turn. I'm going to talk about your football heroes. Now, I'm sorry, but I've got to do this at this point. Get the Man United scarf on.
Oh my God!
Can we get rid of him out the group?
You're
it's his podcast, mate. So
you're our guest,
so
but I'm afraid, you know, we've had too many Leeds United fans on this programme recently. We mentioned Sean. We know you want to rush off after this to watch Leeds get beat by Crystal Palace. But obviously, in all seriousness, I mean, talk about a passionate football fan. I mean, I've seen you watching Leeds games in that bar, and it is it's fucking. You could people would pay money just to watch you. So,
I thought he was having a heart attack.
Obviously, it must be amazing for you, in all seriousness, to have Leeds back in the big time finally, where, you know, in reality, this should be a club that size. So what have you thought about them this season and how it's going in the Prem?
I'm happy, you know. I think we get slated in the media a little bit. I've seen when we're not doing well, it's Bielsa should change his style, and when we're doing well, it's like Leeds can push Europe, etc. You know, it's just, if you look at the other newly promoted teams and where we are, we're comfortable. You know, we're sitting in front of Wolves, and well, we were, you know, we're playing good football. We're entertaining to watch. We don't expect to win every game. Everyone's like, you need to change your style. Like, why? We're comfortable mid-table. You know, we don't need to do anything. We're happy. But the reason I get so wound up watching the football with the lads is because every time Leeds get beat, the WhatsApp group goes like getting relegated and stuff. And I've had a bet with Ewan and Jay that we finish in top 8 at £100 a piece. So I've got a lot invested in it. I think it was after the Liverpool game. I was like, "Yeah, we're off to Europe." We got a bit carried away. I thought this is going to be a breeze.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think it's fair to say I was loving it after your visit to Old Trafford.
Let's not mention that. McTominay. Oh my God, where's he pulled that from?
Well, yeah, no, I don't know, but I suppose it is better to see a team coming up, and Ash says this quite a lot, you know, having a go rather than you watch pathetic performance after pathetic performance from teams like West Brom.
Yeah,
they come up from the Championship and they all do the same thing. They all, you know, there's only been in recent years the likes of maybe Bournemouth who've tried to play a bit of football, and obviously Leeds who have this very unique style, but at least it's something different to watch rather than just parking the bus.
Yeah, you know, they might get beat, like you say, 6-2 against Man United, but they might go out and win 4-0. You know, you just don't know what you're going to get with them. They're absolutely so unpredictable. It's unreal.
Yeah. So who would you say is the footballer like who you look up to the most, maybe now or maybe when you were a kid growing up and thinking, you know, you wanted to be a footballer? Who was your idols back then?
I think the first name on my football shirt, and I think my first ever heartbreak was Alan Smith. Absolutely broke my heart when he left and went across the Pennines. Oh my God. I think I cried. It was that upsetting. You know, he was a Leeds lad and a Leeds legend, and he left to go to Man United. But probably now you've got to look at someone like Virgil van Dijk. The kid's a monster. You know, why would you not want to be him? Absolute 6'6" or whatever he is, just special.
Well, you see the difference, don't you, in what's happened to. I know they've had a few injuries, but what's happened to Liverpool this season without him compared to what they have been, it just shows, doesn't it? How
I think it breeds confidence into the rest of the team as well. When you've got him in your side, you look around and think we've got him. We're going to win this game. He's that good of a player. You get your Ronaldos and your Messis that win your football games. I think like that with Virgil van Dijk, special player.
Yeah. I hate to say it, but yeah, he is. Right, go on, Jack.
Yeah. So, who would you say really got you into football, Tillo? So, sort of family, friends.
I think probably my old man. He used to take my local side when I was 6, 7 years old. So it was probably my dad, yeah. He used to take the local side, he used to go train with him, never dropped me ever. Let me play every week.
I thought you was the captain as well.
I don't know if I wish, I think that's just a bit too biased, that, isn't it? If he lets me have captain and penalties and free kicks and all that, But yeah, probably my old man.
Fantastic. Go on, Ash, and then I'll do the last bit.
Okay, so what do you do when you're not playing football? So how do you like to relax at home, chill out? How do you do that?
My favourite thing is probably going to the pub, but we can't do that.
Oh, tell us about it.
I'm dying. I've got an absolute bottle bank outside here. It's ridiculous. It's just the social side of going to the pub, and I like my horse racing as well. So you have a good bet in there, and it's just a bit of crack.
Yeah.
We need to invite Tillo out, don't we? This is all we do. Go to the pub and bet on horse racing.
You get up to all sorts after a few pints, don't you? Betting on horses.
Pub, horses, takeaway on the way home. Yeah. Life's a dream.
Absolutely.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
A simple man, mate. A simple man.
Brilliant.
I'm easy, please.
What's your favourite sport other than football?
Probably, like I said, racehorse, and I do play a bit of cricket in the summer. If I get time, I'll put my pads on and probably get hammered for that. But yeah, I don't mind a bit.
Not wrong with cricket, mate. Not wrong with cricket. It's a good sport.
It chills me out a little bit.
Yeah.
What as a batter or a bowler or a bit of both?
Batsman, keep a little bit. It's not a great standard to be fair, but it's what it is.
A good sport. It's very relaxing to do.
And I open the batting, so as soon as I nick off after the third ball, I can go in the pub and just drink. It's a great spot.
He's got
it's a good tactic.
This lad.
Well, I was shit as a batsman, so I was further down, so I had to wait.
Oh no!
I got
Get it over and done with. Get it over and done with.
It's refreshing not to hear one of these lads say golf. To be honest,
yeah.
But you say,
not get it.
It's so boring. I don't know what.
It'd be all right if you could go around with a buggy and have a few bottles or something on the way around. I can imagine it's good crack, but when it's raining and windy, would you want to swing a golf club? No, thank you.
Oh, honestly, I'm loving this.
I mean, the lads love it. I might have to get involved with it eventually, but all the lads absolutely love it. I just don't get it. It bores the life out of me.
No,
the sport that needs to be played in the summer for enjoyment.
And I'd probably end up snapping clubs because I'd just lose my head with it if I shanked one out. But I ain't got the patience for it.
Fantastic.
Oh, God.
Right, mate. This is the bit I'm sure you've been looking forward to. You can dig some of the lads out now. So this is the teammate section. This is all you're here for, I'm sure. So same question. So best initiation.
I'll give it me, I think. I was defo up there.
I knew you'd say
defo up there. I'd had a few pints of confidence and I went for it. I've got to say me, probably, yeah.
Fantastic. It was the
was
worst.
a good one. What yours was good, mate.
It was the worst.
Yeah.
It's got to be Easty. If we got the worst of Sweet Caroline, how can you do that? It's the most overplayed song in the world.
Unbelievable.
I can't believe I forgot it.
Who's the madhouse?
Butts is crackers. Yeah, Butts in all there. I don't know how he's a police officer. Yeah, Butts is a bit crackers. Turkey's a bit crackers as well.
Yeah. Butts when he was stood with his top off all the way home talking to Bones.
Where does that come from? I don't know if it was his old man or his father-in-law came to pick him up and he just got in his car and stole with his top off. I was like, me and Levi were in the back, like, what's going on here? Why has he still got his top off? He
was
stood
battered.
there talking to the gaffer for 2 hours with his top on. That gaffer was like, get rid of him.
Who's the moodiest, Tillo?
Loz.
Again.
Loz and Lou. Yeah, Loz and Lou,
Popular
probably.
answer.
I think
Popular answer.
Lou's just a bit intense. I don't think he's moody, whereas Loz just moans. Like, literally just moans about anything.
Who's got the worst trim?
Loz. Just for the Withenshaw game. He got absolutely pelted. It's got to be
Got
Loz.
rinsed.
Yeah. My man was having at this. Yeah, Loz.
Who's got the best trim?
Probably Corner. Corner's got a nice little perm going. So as he do when he curls it. Yeah. Joe's ain't bad. Joe's is always tidy.
Fantastic.
First mention to
who-
TC.
Yeah. TC's not been mentioned in any of these, so he'll be on soon, I'm sure. Best dress sense. He obviously went on the lads' night out.
He's just got a bit on his poster boy and he's the model. He's the one the chicks want. It's gotta be Easty, and it. He's a fresh kid. Corner again, to be fair, he's posted some photos on Instagram where he looks like a bit of a model, walking his dog with his mocker in his hand. Thinking he's all special and indie.
Who needs to go clothes shopping?
I don't even need to say it. I think everyone knows it's got to be Buzz. It was horrendous. Oh, horrendous. Do you remember them Top Man tees which had like different coloured buttons and stuff on it?
Yeah.
It was like one of them V-necks with like jeans and loafers. I know he's like a dad and a bit older than us, but come on, Buzz.
I want to know what he wears on the next night out when it's eventually allowed to happen, because he's took so much shit for what he wore last time.
He's probably not bothered at all as well. He's that type of he's not bothered. Not bothered at all. I'll just stab you all, shut up.
Who loves a red card?
Not a red card, but I know he loves a yellow card, and that's Ewan.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Like the first, I remember like the gaffer was like, well, because Ewan was with me last year, and he was like, what's that Ewan here like? I was, yeah, he's a good lad, he's calm, he's steady on the ball, you know, good player with the ball. And then he comes in just absolutely pulling everyone to the ground, getting booked every game. I was like, eh? I was like, he's killing me here.
Has he not been like that before then?
Well, when we was obviously in a relegation battle, and they brought Ewan in. Oh, yeah, this is Ewan Healy. Meet the lads. And I was like, this kid's never going to save us from relegation. Walked in like looking like he was off on holiday. He's that laid back, he could just fall over. Like, yeah, easy man, what's up and that. I'm like, oh my god, who is this kid? And he goes on the pitch and he turns into an animal. He's just a different. He's just a special character. He's a great lad. It's funny. But yeah, they're starting off this year just pulling everyone to the ground and getting booked every single game, I think.
Best techers.
Jay's got a bit.
Popular
I think he's given me a few assists this year as well, so I've got to say Jay. Yeah.
Best trainer.
Emo's decent. Joel's decent. Nelly's decent. The training's always good, to be fair. It's a good standard of training. It's quite intense and gets quite rough at times, and it's good.
Who's the worst trainer?
Probably you and or Levi. Levi's always late. Like, if the warm up, everything, jogs around at the back, not bothered. You and same, just not bothered, don't care. But that's just how they is, you know. That's the same as Levi. They're both laid back characters, and they need a bit of competition, you know, to spice things up a little bit.
Yeah. Who's the gaffer's best friend?
Oh, it's got to be TC. I'll say bye to the lads, and then like 20 minutes later, I'm like, where's TC? And he's still talking to the gaffer at the end of the game. I'm coming in. What's he doing? Are we off or what? And he's like, yeah, 2 minutes. Go back into the clubhouse, come back out. He's still talking to the gaffer. I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake. got a trip to York here. Got me 2 bottles of Budweiser. Both getting warm.
So finally then, who always takes the longest in front of the mirror? Well, we don't have a mirror. Who's always the last one out?
Levi, I think. Levi, Easty likes to wait around a bit. Nelly's he's got to gel his hair up or whatever he does, Johnny Bravo. Yeah, there's a few quite vain characters actually.
Fantastic.
You're not one of them, though, are you, Tillo?
No, get rough and ready.
Get in the shower. In the bar. You just want to be in the bar quickly.
Yeah, I'm quick in and out, get in the bar, yeah.
I just want to clear something up before you go. And that is that this man, Jack, begged me for that video of you putting that shot over the bar by about 20 miles.
Absolutely killed me.
I apologise, mate.
It was the tweet as well, the tweet where Levi scored like centre half, scribbled out striker, and then it was mine, like absolute killed me. I thought I managed to use it myself, so I got the last laugh.
Sorry, bud. I think you've forgiven me by now.
It was bad, that one. How bad was that? I think my eyes lit up and I just thought, smash it.
Yeah, I think it hit the bridge. Not something off the bridge.
Yeah, it was bad.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Well, that's been brilliant. That actually, Tillo. Thanks a lot for coming on.
Cheers,
some great answers there. We'll let you go and watch Leeds.
Thank you very much. I believe we won the up as well.
Yeah, I won't go to say.
Did you miss a goal? I apologise.
No, keep up the good work, lads. It's a good listen. It's keeping people occupied through lockdown.
Yeah,
cheers.
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 Thanks for coming on, Tillo. Appreciate it. All the best.
Cheers. Thank you. See you later. Cheers.
Right, there he goes then. So that's our latest guest, Captain Niall Tilsley. I think we might just have had our best one yet there, lads. I think that interview was
that was funny. That one.
I mean, honestly, right, Ash, well, both of you, he likes to go to pub and bet on horse racing.
He's one of us, mate.
If he was a Leeds fan, it'd be perfect.
Can you imagine him and Greeny sat around a beer garden table on a Saturday afternoon? Oh
God. But no, we thoroughly enjoyed that. Obviously, so that's 3 players we've had now, and we've had Sean the kit man as well. So that's really going well. We're enjoying that. We thought, to be honest, that we wouldn't be doing these through lockdown, but I think we're really enjoying doing them, and we'll keep lining the guests up as long as they're willing to come on.
Have we got anybody to step forward for next time, or are we going to have to go begging?
No, not yet. I think we're going to have to go begging, but we'll get someone. We've
got a couple of ideas that we'll discuss afterwards.
Tillo's already going to get roasted for asking to come on, so it's fine.
Yeah, after abusing Dougie, and then it turns out that Tillo's the one asking to come on. But no, just say thanks again to him, and I will get that uploaded. Thanks as always to you two. Good chat and debate at the start, which is always good. And pleased to hear about the auction and the sportsman's dinner. Make sure we get our tickets and everything for that. And obviously
get our table sorted, Samuel.
Oh, we will.
Selling tickets for our table.
We will. We'll get on to the
a table sold.
10. We're on the supporters club chairman's table, mate. Don't you worry about it. I've got us on.
Are we getting Greeny Nicky down?
Oh God.
Greeny, God. You know what state I was in the last sportsman's dinner. I don't think we need Greeny to be in the same state.
Well, the question is, does Greeny own a tie?
I doubt it.
In question, isn't it?
I still don't own a tie because James Chesney still owes me one. But there we go. That was a Christmas present I never got.
I don't have a club tie, but sure you can wear another tie.
Yeah,
it's black tie.
Anyway, before we put people to sleep,
yes,
we'll go. Obviously, the clock.
Conversation riveting.
The clock keeps ticking. We keep waiting for a decision or any news whatsoever, which we haven't had yet. But as soon as we do, we will debate it on here, and we will see you next week with hopefully another Ferriby player or another Ferriby guest of some description, I'm sure we can sort somebody out. But yeah, just finally, thanks again to Tillo, and thanks to you two as always for joining me. And I'll see you next week.
Samuel.
Cheers, lads.